Eye on Labor. Joining me on the line right now, I have the president of the Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Timothy Bailey. Good morning to you, Mr. Bailey.
Good morning, PSATV. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. Hope you all are good also.
Yeah, we are. It's a very celebratory occasion, a very celebratory mood, in fact, for trade unions and the labor movement on the whole, with the acquisition of the Petrotrin refinery by the OWTU. Your thoughts on the entire development? What are your thoughts?
Well, I want to start off by saying that, of course, it is a joyous occasion on hearing that our brothers and sisters, our comrades at OWTU were successful with what they did with Patriotic. Notwithstanding that, I think there is a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I'm backing my comrades and my brothers and sisters to be up for that challenge. There's only positive things could come out of this acquisition. Most importantly, the livelihood of those displaced workers would once more be what they would have known it to be for the passenger time that they would have been in the employ of the company. Mm-hmm. I also think that it would change the landscape of how trade unions and trade unionists are viewed in this country, with the possibility of a union incorporating an organization or company to run a massive enterprise or corporation like Patriotic. At the end of the day, definitely it came as a shock, even though we knew that our brothers and sisters were burning the candle and were working hard to basically acquire this asset, this national asset. We were shocked at Steelworkers Union with the announcement, and give Jack the jacket. We want to give the government kudos for having faith in the union, allowing the union to acquire the opportunity to acquire the asset. And I am sure that my comrades there would, as I said before, be up for the challenge and change the dynamics and change the way in which workers, working class, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are looked upon.
Mm-hmm. And I know you yourself have been dealing with your own matters on your end as it relates to ArcelorMittal. What is the latest there?
The latest situation there is that the liquidator has decided to take an alternative route to sell the asset. The specifics as it relates to the route, I don't have the specifics at this point in time, but I think that at this point in time he's looking at his options in terms of getting somebody to acquire the asset. Mm-hmm. At Point Resource there.
Wow. And I mean, how soon are we looking at this happening?
Well, we are hopeful that we are hoping that before the end of this year that there would be a definite decision as it relates to that asset, the steel industry in Point Resource. My members, the workers, the citizens, the community continues to suffer the longer that this facility is down and is idling. Likewise, the refinery, we believe that with the restart of the steel industry, that only positives could be gained from restarting the industry. We have employment, we have an injection in terms of the bartering system, where the community would be impacted positively, where at the end of the day we would once more see the community be lively as we know it to be in the past.
All right, let's just step away from that topic for a bit. The last, and I should say the fifth and final budget of this government will be read early in October. What do you want to see in this year's budget?
What I wish for the budget is simple. I am hoping that the budget at the end of the day is a budget that would impact the working class. Over the past 4 years, the working class have been hit over and over and over and over again. And we are hoping that there is a turnaround in terms of at every budget, there was something that basically impacted and diminished our earning potential, our earnings. We are hoping that there is some sort of mechanism put in place to ensure that this doesn't continue and the trend turns around. And most importantly, we are hoping that through the budget, employment opportunities would be created. We have a serious, whether or not people like it, whether or not the government wants to admit it, we have a serious unemployment problem in the country. We have a scenario where companies continue to close, workers continue to be cast on the wayside, and we need some sort of positivity as it relates to the landscape, as it relates to employment. We need something to create employment in this country. And I don't know what type of innovation or what could be done or what has been done and what would be read in the budget, but I am looking for something positive along those lines coming out of the budget.
Now, I don't know if you would have listened to the Minister of Energy's comments yesterday with regards to cooking gas, and he said, that Trinidad is one of the few Caribbean countries, if not the only Caribbean country, with its LPG gas price, quote unquote, so cheap. Do you think that in this budget, do you think that we'll perhaps see an increase in fuel prices or gas prices?
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. For the past 4 years, we have only seen instances where, whether it's super, diesel, whatever, it only increases, and it has impacted the middle class earner and the citizens on that side of the scale. And I hope that that's just a discussion, and hence the reason we need the refinery to be reopened, because we know part of the benefit of having our own refinery was that. So we are hopeful that with the reopening of the refinery, that we will continue to benefit from these types of benefits that the citizens of the country would have benefited over the year because of our resources, our natural resources.
And even when you look at the public sector itself, public servants, they've had outstanding salaries for many, many years. Do you think that in this budget, perhaps, there can be some sort of, some ray of hope? Well,
it's a fact that public servants have been waiting quite a while. My comrade Duke has been speaking about it for some years, and SWUTT is speaking about it as well. But the reality is that let's see if some sort of good breeze is blowing our way. We had the announcement of OWTU, True Patriotic, winning the bid to acquire the refinery. Let's keep our fingers and toes crossed. Let's see if we have an early Christmas.
An early Christmas. I like how you put it there. And I know that the Prime Minister himself has stated that, all budgets are sweetheart budgets. Do you think that this year's budget may be a sweetheart budget?
I haven't seen any sweetheart budget in quite a while, so I'm waiting to see one. Hopefully this one is.
Well, I guess we can only hope and wait until the budget comes around.
Exactly.
All right, Mr. Bailey, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
this
you for
morning.
having me.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
All right, just a brief conversation there with the president of the Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Timothy Bailey. As you know, the OWTU was the preferred choice of bids in acquiring the Petrotrin refinery, and that announcement was made last week Friday by Minister of Finance Colm Imbert. It has since raised a lot of many topics. Many persons are weighing in. You have the congratulations on one end, you have the criticisms on one end, but of course, it comes with the nature of Petrotrin. Many of you would have seen, however, that the Minister of Energy, Mr. Franklin Can, has stated categorically that there are no favors in the OWT refinery deal, and you would have heard just now the Chief Education and Research Officer of OWTU, Mr. Ozzy Warwick, speaking to that extent and answering some questions and just clearing up some doubts that many of the viewing audience have had in the past. And you also have here Mr. Timothy Bailey just chipping in with some congratulations to the OWTU and the trade union movement and the labor movement to an extent. And he has also given us what he wants to see in this year's budget. Of course, just like every other citizen or every other labor leader in particular, something good for the labor sector. We've seen over time an extent of over 50,000 workers being sent home from various companies. That includes the private and public sector companies of Trinidad and Tobago. So many people are, just looking towards this budget for some sort of hope. Would there be any hope? I think just time will tell. I know we here at PSA TV, we've been chatting with some of you on the street, some of you just to figure out what you want to see in the budget. I know that most of the people we've spoken to so far, they've indicated, especially pensioners, they have called for an increase in pension. And know recently the disability grant was increased. So who's to say what we can see coming out of this budget? But I also know that the issue of the gas prices, and every year I think as soon as you hear there's a budget around the corner, many people, we start panicking and we start thinking, well, there may be an increase in gas prices. We can't say for sure what will happen this year. But just to read to you briefly from an article here done by the Express newspaper, where it says, Finance Minister Colm Imbert said yesterday that the Point-a-Pear refinery is going forward debt-free and is in the line for further tax incentives. This adds to the 13-year deferment of the full settlement of the US $700 million consideration for the refinery that Patriotic Energies and Technologies Company will receive if the OWTU entity successfully firms up its preferred bid status. On Friday, however, that announcement was made by Minister Imbert. And you have here that Minister Khan, that is the energy minister, is also saying here that, the government did not favor anyone or give anything away when it chose a company owned by the Oilfield Workers Trade Union as the preferred bidder for the Point-a-Pear refinery. And yesterday he made that comment while speaking at the opening of the National Petroleum Service Station and Quick Shop Plus at El Socorro there. He said, quote, last week the big news was Petrotrin being owned 100% by the OWTU. There was an international call for requests, a multidisciplinary team, and 31 companies with bids Patriotic came through with a transparent process. We did not give anything away. We did not favor anyone, end quote. And of course, you would have heard there in our previous news article where the President General of the OWTU, Mr. Ansel Roger, given us just some insight into how exactly the proposal was done. It was not just like Mr. Warwick was saying, it wasn't just two people who got together and said, well, okay, let's do this. It was a team effort, a very, very strategically put together proposal from the OWTU, which ensured that they came out successful in the end. This is PSA TV. You are viewing Eye on Labor here. We're going to toss to a really short break and come back with more. Stay with us.